What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Coaches Podcast. This is your host, as always, Steve Pintato, and we are back with our newest episode. We're doing the tight end previews for the 2021 season here. We got a great guest on the show today, and we're going to kind of just talk about the tight ends based off Fantasy Pros ADP currently, and kind of see, if they are they in the right spot? Do we like these players? Do we not like these tight ends? It's going to be a lot of fun talking about tight ends because there's so few, but we're going to try to find some diamonds in the rough as well. And let's get started. So as always, I got to introduce my co-host, Coach Jibbs. Welcome to the show, my friend. What's going on, man?
I feel lucky today. You know why?
Lucky? Why?
We're talking tight ends, and it's a lottery. It's basically picking the lottery after, my opinion, the top 7 or so. So if you don't even like those guys, I feel bad for you. Get the top guys, but I'm ready to talk some football today.
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, the Fantasy Pros 2020 rankings came out, and I was 15th on the tight end ranking portion of it. Jibbs, I know you were 16th overall, my guy. Congrats over there.
Thank you.
I know some of my tight ends, so we'll see how this goes today. So let's introduce our guest for the show tonight. Justin, he is someone who I work with very well with on the We Know Fantasy platform. And what's going on, Justin?
What's going on, Coach? I appreciate you having me tonight. Good to meet Coach Jibbs and be a part of you guys' stuff over here. You're doing some great things.
We definitely appreciate it. Absolutely. You're going to be an honorary coach for this evening. So Coach Justin, we got for the night. So we actually have 2 other Justins. So this is a 3rd Justin now. So just let everyone know kind of, what you like to do in the industry and kind of, where they can find you on social media if they want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Coach Steve said, I work with the We Know Fantasy crew for the most part during the season, doing a lot of their weekly podcasts, some of the weekend stuff, DFS. I really love to get into the sports betting side of things, and we started doing a little bit of that on the Sunday live show with We Know Fantasy. So anytime on Twitter, I'm looking for a best bet. I can, put somebody on a good hit for the weekend, and that's just what we're here for. July's here. My Scott Fishbowl Satellite League the draft is finally moving a little bit. So we're in week 2. So I'm just happy to be here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I mean, I think I finished my Scott Fishbowl like a weekend ago. So the satellites do move a little slow from what I've been hearing. So, but like I said, guys, we're talking tight ends today. There's really not much in terms of news to go over. I know Jibbs hearing the rumors of Watson to Philly maybe is a possibility, but again, there's really not too much. Training camp starts in another week or so, so that's when we'll probably start hearing more cool things about the season and everyone in between. So to get started, again, I looked on Fantasy Pros ADP currently as of today. And we're going to start right here at the top. And, of course, if you don't already know, if you're living under a rock for the last 10 years, Travis Kelce is the top of the position, followed by, I believe it's Darren Waller. It's George Kittle and then Darren Waller, kind of round out our top 3 of the position. These guys are just – you have to have them or you just don't kind of have them situation. So, guys, start off here. I mean, I don't know what more you can really say about Travis Kelce is that he's a locked, top 25 pick, and depends on how you feel about the tight end position as a whole. But starting with George Kittle here, coming off an injury season, the quarterback situation is up in the air right now with, more weapons in this offense here now. Justin, we'll let you kind of go first here. How do you kind of feel about George Kittle as we get into the season here now?
So it's probably going to sound taboo. I really don't want a whole lot to do with George Kittle in any of my leagues. I actually think he's probably the most talented top to bottom tight end in the league, even over Kelce from a run blocking, pass catching, athletic standpoint. He plays a very injury risk game the way he plays. And that injury risk is big for me. And at the value that I have to take him probably at the top of the 3rd round in most leagues, sometimes even in the 2nd, depending on who you play with. I just can't do the value. Great player, love the talent, but the injury risk really scares me.
Yeah, no, the injury, he's definitely been somewhat banged up over the last couple of seasons now. People say it's like fluke injuries, but an injury is an injury. He's not in your fantasy lineup. But Jibbs, do you feel similar way here, or can he kind of regain that magic we've been looking for, I think, since the 2018 season, to be honest?
I hope he regains his magic, but I'm in a similar opinion to Justin. I just don't want to take that risk, that early round pick, and especially if you're putting your money on a tight end. If I burn a running back, he gets hurt sometime in the year, whatever. But if my tight end and the top 30 pick goes down, that hurts your team significantly. So Only thing like I could peg about George Kittle, like basically, is just like the emergence of like Ayuk and like maybe the quarterback situation and how like long that will linger, like him being like tied to Jimmy G, and then what will he be when Trey Lance comes into the field. So like I'm sure he's gonna be a spectacular player. He's still gonna probably lead the team in like targets and whatnot, but there's some red flags to worry about too.
Yeah, no, and you guys make fantastic points. I mean, the only thing that I would want to say is that when you see his game to game situation, he was like on pace for like great numbers, and which is what kind of what you want in a tight end. I mean, it's like a risk reward factor, but in the same sense, I mean, he's been injured over the last couple seasons. You know, the wide receivers are another year in this league now, and I think when you switch to a guy like Trey Lance at some point during the season, which I believe they do, you know, he's not going to always look for that easy, you know, guy across the middle and George Kittle, and besides maybe run it a little bit more because he has that ability to his game there. So you have to be worried about that. And it really comes down to that where he's going as the number 2 tight end overall right now is just too rich, I think most of our bloods right now. And it's just like you'd rather just stay away from the situation than fall into a situation where he might get you a couple of great weeks, but then who knows, might not what happen, injuries, whatever it may be. So I'm on the same boat there. And again, he doesn't have that, I think, you could say Kelce upside because the offense is a more of a run first. So that's, for me, I think you stay away from him. Jibs?
Are you looking at standard or half PPR?
I think I'm looking at half point PPR right now.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure I'm looking at half point PPR right now. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, when I looked at it.
Okay, yeah. I looked again. I think we did that the other day. I still looking at the wrong thing, but no, it is half point PPR, guys. In terms of where Kittle is right now, I mean, I think he was third, like when we first started talking about tight ends.
I don't know what I'm looking at then.
Tight end PPR? Unless I'm missing something here. I don't know. Fantasy Pros, if you're out there listening, tell us what's going on. So again, Kittle has that risk reward factor basically. So heading over the other big 3 here at this point, it's Darren Waller, who this last 2 seasons have been an amazing asset to have on in terms of tight ends right now, especially late at the end of the season where he went on a rampage of like 5 straight games of 100+ yards. You know, but the offense again hasn't really changed that much. I don't think so. I think at this point you can do you guys basically buy into the fact that you want to take him with a top, you know, let's say 40 pick in terms of the draft this year? Jibs, I'll let you go first on this one.
You sign me up for that. I think Darren Waller is like a sure shot top 3 tight end. I think he's, in my opinion, probably he's top 2. I can't really front on Kelce and that Chiefs offense, but for a tight end to be the main vocal piece in the offense, like that's definitely a good plus. I know they're going to probably try to run more, but still, Darren Waller has gained back-to-back 100 target seasons. I think he had 146 last year. So like he's making dividends on that offense. They want to get Henry Ruggs. We'll see how that goes. But still, at the end of the day, that thing goes through Darren Waller, and I'll spend that pick and worry about a position later in the draft.
Yeah, Darren Waller is a different kind of animal, that's for sure. But Justin, are you in a similar boat here? You know, even though his age is a little older now, he's 29, maybe I think it's 29 before the season starts. Does that, you know, drive into anything, or is it just he's a lock?
No, he's a lock. I mean, for me, I think if anybody can usurp Kelce, and Kelce being the champ of tight ends for the last 4 to 5 years, it's Waller. And Waller showed it last year. He showed the ability to do things that were otherworldly for the Raiders offense. I get to see it twice a year being a Chargers fan. Aguilar is not on that roster anymore. So the deep threat is gone, and maybe they try to get Waller down the field a little bit. And then I don't know of anybody in that wide receiver room that would be their target in the red zone other than Darren Waller. So if he turns over a double-digit touchdown season, he could potentially be number 1.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Honestly, I was going to mention that he literally dominated targets, and especially in the red zone this past season. And I think there's no one in there who's has that threat to their game. So I mean, Waller's gonna be that big body guy that gives Carr that opportunity to throw that ball in the end zone. Again, this offense isn't horrible, so they're going to push the ball downfield and they're going to score touchdowns during this coming season here. So Waller, I think, is a lock. Before we move on, though, just real quick, is Kelce a first-round pick for you guys at all? Like, would you draft him in the first?
I would.
I would too.
I would as well. I would too.
Like if it's a 12, I'm sure shot taking him at 12, 11. I'll consider it. But you're automatically getting like what it is. So like it's a sure shot.
He was wide receiver 3 last year if you look at his fantasy points.
Yeah.
So,
That's insane.
just so you guys know. So
and Watkins is gone, and Mecole Hardman's their number 2, which means
LOL.
Travis.
more possible
Maybe more.
targets for Kelsey this season. So all right. So that's like the big 3 guys. I mean, they're, again, you can consider them locks. Maybe Kittle is an up and down kind of thing, but I mean, at least 2 of them are considered locks. And then we go to the next tier here, which this is around that round 4-5 range right now for a lot of people, around 6, whatever you may have it. But again, both these guys have upside, but they also have their downfalls to some extent here. But we'll start with, I think Hockenson is first, if I'm not mistaken. No, Mark Andrews is first. So Mark Andrews gets to go up on the bat first here, guys. And, again, Mark Andrews, I think he's been a hell of a player the last 2 seasons now. But again, there's a run-first team, and they're bringing in new weapons here. So, Justin, let you go first. Does that scare you with the new weapons possibly coming to town, or is it someone you're just, I don't know, are you considering Mark Andrews a guy you want to draft?
So Mark Andrews is not a guy for me. They're adding Bateman. I'm tired of the narrative that the Baltimore Ravens are going to throw the ball more. No, you're not. You're more efficient running the ball. So why would you change that? I mean, it doesn't bode any well for them to do that. I mean, Devin Duvernay is coming into his second year. Does he get some play in the slot? Sammy Watkins is coming over and reuniting with the offensive coordinator. So I just think that there's going to be less targets up for grab for Andrews. The one silver lining I will say is I think he is the tried and true option in the red zone for them if they throw the ball.
Right, and that is a great point there, because I was going to mention that a little bit there, that he's had back-to-back 7-touchdown seasons at least here, but does the touchdowns intrigue you enough, Jibs, to take him in that 5-6 range still, or you would just rather punt on the tight end if you're not getting one of the big 3?
I don't know. I agree 100% with Justin. Like to the T. Like I had him last year, and not to like put like last year's spite on it, but it's just I don't believe that passing offense is very low volume, and there's just not gonna be enough opportunity for everyone. Like even if they do give him more opportunities, I'm in the camp to believe that maybe like his touchdowns go down this year. Like he had 17 touchdowns last 2 years. Like so you never know like what could happen, but like sure I'll take him 5, but I don't think I want to take him where like his ADP is. Like I gotta get a little bit more cheese on that.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of on the same boat with you guys. I mean, basically, you think of Mark Andrews, he's just like a touchdown machine guy who doesn't have like that elite fantasy tight end ability as guys like Kelsey or Waller to go for 100+ yards. I feel like he can do what he do to get you about 70 yards and a touchdown in certain weeks. And again, you have to rely that Lamar Jackson is going to throw the ball actually, and it won't be a run first thing. So it's just like, it's like George Kittle, but with less reward out of it. Less upside, I think, kind of the way you can kind of look at Mark Andrews, that he'll be decent. And if you want to go with the tight end at round 6, go for it. But I think you're better off just kind of waiting at the position there than go for a guy who will just be good, but not great always for you.
His current ADP on Fantasy Pros also has him around DJ Moore and Robert Woods. I'm taking both of them over Mark Andrews.
I like that as well. Yes,
Yeah,
great. Yes. Absolutely. So that's why you either go tight end early or you go tight end late and go for upside. So I like that as well. But another guy in that range there is a guy who is on probably could be the worst team in football this year, but they literally have wide receivers that are probably just as good as me. And I'm just kidding. Those guys are obviously better because they're in the NFL. But, their best wide receiver is Terrell Williams. And T.J. Hockenson, who had over 100 targets last year, is in for a possibly big increase. Jibs, what do you feel about T.J. Hockenson? Can he see a jump in terms of targets?
Dog, you know me. I'm a volume whore. Like I see Marvin Jones leaving, I see Kenny Galladay leaving. Like I just see plenty of opportunity. I don't care how bad an NFL team is; they're gonna have to throw that goddamn ball to pick up that to get back into the game. So even with Tyrell Williams being there, it's not really like that much competition, sure, but I think he can make that next step. I think he has a higher ceiling than Mark Andrews. Like I don't think he's gonna score like all the touchdowns, but I think with the enough volume and enough receiving work, I think he could definitely surpass that and not be relying on the touchdowns as much. So
yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. But Justin, T.J. Hockenson, I know it's a bottom tier offense, so the scoring might not be there. Does that concern you, or is it the targets enough for you?
I mean, you're talking about the heavyweight champion of the tight end university camp this summer. So I'm a big TJ Hawkinson guy this year. There is some worry for the tight end upside. I mean, the touchdown upside. So I do get that, because you don't know what this offense is going to do. But he will get massive volume, I feel like, from Jared Goff. And again, it's another one of those things where who else do they throw the ball in the red zone? So if he's getting a 20-25% share when they're actually there, give me 6 touchdowns and the targets he'll get, and I'm good with it.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't disagree with you at all on that. My only thing with Hawkinson, again, I think to me, I'm still concerned about the scoring ability. Again, he's probably going to be the main guy in the red zone, but how often do they get to the red zone this coming season with Jared Goff, with no wide receivers that are to that level, unless they really take that step up this coming season here? I mean, this is going to be a bad offense. Let's be real here. So I think you have to look at expectation. It's like he's going to probably see over 100 targets, which is good. Is he going to see close to 1,000 yards like Waller or Kittle? I don't think so, to be honest. I think you're seeing like an 8-4 kind of season, but he's going to have probably like 70 catches maybe or so. He definitely saw that increase this coming season with his catch rate taking a big step forward from his rookie season. But to me, I'm starting to pump the brakes on his ability to really take that top 3 level this coming season. I think he's going to be a solid tight end, and I think he's basically going to be the opposite of Mark Andrews. I think he's going to be the reception guy. Well, it's Mark Andrews more the touchdown guy. So, yeah, Jibs?
Yeah, on to that point, though, they had similar stats last year. He had 6 touchdowns. Mark Andrews had 7. He had 723 yards, although Mark Andrews had 701 yards. So I think even with the less pieces in offense, I think that could be the sky's the limit for the kid. So that's why I like him a little bit more than Mark Andrews. But obviously, I would rather have Waller, Travis Kelce.
Of course. And I think I have it the same way, where Hawkinson is definitely my tight end 4 currently right now because of the opportunity and ceiling he could present if he gets it. So we'll move on to our next section here. And it's probably the most controversial player in all of football right now, Kyle Pitts. The Atlanta Falcons rookie generational type of talent tight end who at this point, it just seems like a lot of people already have him as the number 4 tight end in terms of the season, obviously after the Julio Jones trade. But I don't know who I went up with. Justin, I'll let you go first, but are you buying into this Kyle Pitts hype, and how early are you taking this guy?
It's got to fall right, so mostly not, because I wouldn't take him before the 6th round, probably 7th round, and he's not going to fall there in any drafts, whether it's 10 team or 12 team. The talent is there for sure. We're not going to say anything in this that nobody across the industry hasn't already said, but you just don't know with a rookie tight end. You don't know with Arthur Smith how he's going to change that offense and how much the passing attempts go down. I do think if they get more efficient in the running game, you may see some openings for Pitts in the red zone. I think he will be a big target down there.
Yeah, he definitely has an opportunity to really take that next level there. But Jibs, are you buying into that? I mean, we saw Arthur Smith try to make Jonnu Smith really take that next step, but he never really took that next step. I mean, and you have this offense without Julio now. So are you buying into this Kyle Pitts yourself?
I'm not buying into it either, but the upside is there, and the guy is a sure-shot Hall of Famer. But as we've seen history tell itself time and past, rookies don't do well as tight ends. So he has potential. Like, if I'm just shooting for the moon, I'll pick him. But like, obviously, I'm not going to just go out of my way and pick him either.
Yeah, no. See, when it comes to Kyle Pitts, for me, guys, personally, it's just like, you look at the rookie. He's a rookie tight end. Let's be real. He is a rookie tight end still. And if you look back over the rookie tight end seasons that were some of the best ones, Evan Ingram was one of the best rookie tight end seasons actually of all time. He was second best in terms of yardage and everything, but 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. That was the best rookie season in terms of a tight end. Can Kyle Pitts do that? I think he could do that, but you're taking him at that ceiling at that point. If you're taking him in round 4, which I think people may consider doing, like Justin said, round 6, 7 is probably more realistic, in which you're going to get better value. But I don't want to expect him to have that Darren Waller, Travis Kelce like season off the bat. He has opportunity to do that throughout his career, absolutely. But it's kind of hard to want to see that kind of ceiling for him year 1. But again, it's there, and it's just you take the risk. And if it doesn't pan out, you're kind of stuck with Kyle Pitts, because you're going to just hold him your whole season if he doesn't pan out. Like, what could be? What could happen if you hold him for the first 8 weeks and he does nothing, but you're like, it's Kyle Pitts. He's going to have to break this at some point. So I feel like taking him this season without knowing what he's gotten him is just too much for me personally. And that's kind of why I see it. Either you just let someone else deal with that up and down, or you take it and deal with it yourself, because you can't just drop Kyle Pitts. That's how I feel kind of on the situation currently.
Completely agree.
Yeah, because it's like if he has a couple bad games, you're not going to drop Kyle Pitts because it's like, oh, but I drafted him in the 5th round, 4th round.
Right.
And you have to hold him because he's a generational type talent. He could break out. Who knows? And then if he doesn't do it, I mean, you're just kind of stuck in that situation. So, all right. So moving on to the rest of the tight end ones here at this point here, and I'll kind of name them off real quickly for you guys. I mean, this is tight end 7 to 12. You have Noah Fant, Dallas Goedert right now, Logan Thomas, Mike Gesicki, Hunter Henry for some reason, and Rob Gronkowski right now, sitting at the rest of the tight end 1 position here right now. So, Jibs, I'll let you kind of go first. Out of those guys, Fant, Goddard, Thomas, Gesicki, Henry, and Gronkowski, which of these do you kind of prefer to go after, or are these guys not your cup of tea?
Out of that group, I'm definitely preferring Goddard and Noah Fant. They both show me at times when they're not injured that they could they could be like a number 1 option in their offense. The Eagles offensive coordinator already stated that Dallas Goedert's going to be that guy. We obviously know they're going to pepper in some Devontae Smith as well. So I believe Dallas Goedert's definitely primed to have a good year, but it's not going to be consistent because obviously Jalen Hurts has to prove himself to be like a quality NFL quarterback. And I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm not being like fucking the pessimistic guy over here, but and then Noah Fant, he's a great athlete. I love that his talent and everything, and he kind of worries me out of the group because just like with Judy, Cortland Sutton coming back, he's not going to be that main guy in the offense. I know Teddy Bridgewater could provide some sustained value instead of Drew Lock passing the ball erratic and whatnot. So I think they're both going to be peppered with targets on their team. They're going to have steady flow. I don't think they have killer upside, but there's steady tight ends for the guys who missed out on the group prior.
Yeah, no, they both are they're 7th and 8th right now, so they definitely have that appeal to their game there, especially being possible involvement in the offense. But Justin, do those guys excite you at all, or does maybe someone else in that group there kind of hey, I kind of want this guy?
Yeah, I'm on the same page with Jibs on Goddard. Fant, I like Fant's talent. There's just so many mouths to feed in Denver, and the quarterback situation kind of cools me off on that one. Goddard, I think he's a decent value. It just depends on, does Jalen Hurts take the next step as a passer? I'm still one that would potentially throw some chips at Logan Thomas. They did bring a couple more pieces into Washington. However, Diami Brown is a rookie wide receiver, so we'll see. I mean, nobody's expecting Justin Jefferson type numbers from him, so it's not like he's going to command a huge target share. And then Curtis Samuel, I love the player, but Scott Olsen already did nothing with him in Carolina. So, I think he's a late round flyer too. But you got a steady, sure-handed target in Logan Thomas across the middle for Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I think that still will score some points.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like these rest of these tight ends outside of Gronk per se, their quarterback situations are questionable. Basically, I mean, you have Hurts, you have Fitzpatrick to some extent. I mean, you have Tua, you have the Lock with Bridgewater situation. So getting these tight ends in this round just doesn't sound really sexy to me to want to go out and get these guys. And these are the round 8 to 10 range kind of players. I feel like that you're going to get one of these guys. Like I said, you guys kind of talked about everyone besides Mike Gesicki. And again, I want to mention Mike Gesicki because I am a Dolphins fan, but it's not because I'm being biased whatsoever. I mean, I think Mike Gesicki still has an ability to his game there. I think people were thinking Waddle and Fuller coming into Miami kind of just makes Mike Gesicki lose those targets, which I don't think is 100% true. I think he still has that ability to kind of gain those targets. And I put this on Twitter a couple days ago that, his games with just Tua were really good. And if you post that out to a 17-game season, I mean, he's looking at 800 yards, 8 touchdowns kind of situation there, which I think is really doable still with this team because they're going to throw the ball at some point. They still need to pass the ball. And there's nothing to say that Fuller and Waddle will be the main contributors still. We'd like them to be. I'd love Waddle to be the number 1 guy, absolutely. But again, Waddle, Fuller, Parker, I mean, Preston Williams, they all get hurt. They all have been hurt over their careers. I mean, none of them can stay healthy. So enter Mike Gesicki, who is probably the only consistently guy on the field throughout his career, basically so far. So he's definitely someone. Again, that 8 to 10 range in terms of tight ends aren't sexy, but maybe one of them can really make that next level. And I still would probably want to take Mike Gesicki at that point of the draft for me personally. So
hopefully they don't just keep throwing to like the random tight ends like they did last year.
I was going to ask about that. I mean, I love Gesicki's talent.
Yeah. Adam Shaheem, Hunter Long this year now. Who knows? I don't know. Hopefully Mike Gesicki can get back on track. But no love for like Hunter Henry. Is you don't believe he's the tight end one there?
No, they wanted Jonnu. They wanted Jonnu more than they wanted him. I mean, I think they went after him a little more aggressive. Hunter Henry, he's a great blocker. He can get open. He has injury concerns. I know too well about that. And who's going to throw the ball? If it's Cam, I don't really
like that situation either. And it kind of does sound like they were like, oh, let's sign Jonnu, and then he like hit him up, and then they got like Henry, and then Jonnu was like, yeah, I got you too. They're like, oh my God, why? But yeah, it's sketchy. Just like the running back situation. I don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, let's talk about that tight end situation there. So does Jonnu Smith, nor I guess at this point Hunter Henry, they don't intrigue you guys this coming season here? Or if say Cam's not the starter, Mac Jones is, they don't just intrigue you overall, or are you staying away from position?
Yeah, I don't want Jonnu in redraft, but if I'm playing best ball, I'm going to take Jonnu because I think they're going to use Jonnu in some very interesting ways. They're going to split him out. He's got the athletic ability to play a big slot role in that offense. Obviously, there's nobody there that's going to scare you as like an alpha wide receiver off of targets. So I think there'll be some weeks where Jonnu could explode.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with you. Jibs, what about you?
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound – neither of them sound amazing because it's the way New England's offense is, I think, built this past season here and the way they performed, especially at the tight end position. Again, the way I see it, I feel like at times they could be the tight end. They could be the pass catcher 1, or they could be the pass catcher 5 very easily, I feel like, on this team. I feel like there's no, like, we know Jonnu Smith's going to be the number 1 pass option. Like, we don't know that because it could be Hunter Henry. Don't get us wrong. Hunter Henry has been a pretty solid tight end over career. It could be one of the wide receivers who step up like Meyer. It could be Aguilar. I mean, one of those guys that step up. I mean, maybe it's the running game where they use James White the right way again this season. I mean, it's just the way they are perceived right now. I feel like you're taking a shot if you're taking them before round 12, either one of them. If you're taking either one of these guys before round 12, you're doing something wrong because you're getting them at their ceiling, I think, than getting them at their value at that point. So, honestly, Jonnu Smith is honestly tight end 13 right now on ADP right now. So he's probably going a little bit better. But if you're reaching for Hunter Henry right now, you're reaching the wrong way right now, guys. That's kind of the way I see it.
And even in best case scenario, if you're looking at that New England offense, even if it's Mac Jones that's behind center, do they still even eclipse 30 pass attempts a game? I don't know that I think so. I mean, it's a Bill Belichick-led offense. I mean Josh McDaniels, but
And I think that's a great point, honestly, because they're going to run the ball with Cam, you know that. And they're going to probably want to run the ball with Mac Jones to limit his turnover or his ability to throw the ball in tough situations, year 1 at least. So that makes a ton of sense. If it was Dynasty, we might be talking a little different. But right now, I mean, redraft year 1, yeah, that's not the situation you kind of want to be in right now. So heading over those tight end 2s that we kind of started mentioning here, the risers right now, and I'll kind of name off at least half here, and we'll kind of talk about the first half, those upper tight end 1s. And I actually want to talk about this one guy first because he was a tight end 1 last year, and it's Robert Tonyan, who finished tight end, I think, 5 or 6 this past season. I think it was 5. But he's right now in ADP, he's tight end 18 right now, basically going in round 12, 13 right now. What's up with Robert Tonyan? Why do you think people are so low on him? Are you guys low on him, or should that he be higher right now? Jim, go ahead.
I'll go first. I think people are low on him because obviously the Rodgers situation, that's just a cloud hanging over everything. But if you're looking like at a pure like fantasy like kind of situation and numbers thing, like the guy was pretty much, he played a perfect kind of game last year for fantasy managers. He was third points per game, and the touchdowns really saved him. He had like 55. He basically had 50 catches and had 11 touchdowns. So he's catching 5 touchdowns. He was catching 5 balls and getting a touchdown each time. So like, I don't think that's sustainable at all. And I think that's probably like sketching some fantasy managers as well. So like, I don't think it's repeatable, but he has shown that he's like a quality guy in the red zone, though. That's for sure.
That is for sure. Justin, what about you? Are you buying this Robert Tonyan, or are you with the ADP right now?
I'm with the ADP. I just don't know what that offense is going to be like. Rodgers. I think Rodgers will be there. Honestly, from my perspective, but even still, I think he just likes to spread the ball around. Other than Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones.
That is true. That is true. He loves those two guys so much. So, I think he's a little low, honestly. I mean, yeah, if Rodgers isn't there, he fits that bill pretty good right there. But I mean, I still think Rodgers comes back this coming season here. So, I mean, I think he deserves at least a tight end 1 status for right now until you know that Rodgers isn't playing. I mean, yeah, Gibbs is right. I mean, he had 11 red zone receptions. He had 11 touchdowns. What does that tell you? Uber efficiency. He had an 88% catch rate. I mean, yeah, but again, he's going to play with Aaron Rodgers. He's still going to see work on this offense here. He might not have 11 touchdowns, but I think he's still worthy of a tight end 1 at this moment. Again, if Rodgers doesn't play, I want nothing to do with Robert Tonyan because I don't trust him at that point. But if Rodgers is there and Tonyan's sitting there in round 12, I want to take him. If he's going to be my tight end 1, I'll roll with that and see what happens. If nothing else, I'll drop him at that point and go with another option. There's always tight ends you can pick up throughout the season that will give you something at least. So again, sitting at 18 seems a bit low, but again, in terms of his round 12, that's not too bad. But I think he deserves to be at least in that tight end 1 tier status. One guy that's pretty close to going up there because of some situations that happened this offseason with Irv Smith Jr. of Minnesota Vikings, who now doesn't have Kyle Rudolph anymore to deal with. Justin, are you buying the ascension of Irv Smith Jr. this year, or is it too much to ask for because it's a run first team?
I mean, I was until their offensive coordinator was like, we're not going to expand his role. I mean,
how do you do that?
At the information that I have at my hands right now, no, I don't want to be a part of it. But I mean, I think Irv Smith has the talent. He's another one of those guys at Alabama. I thought also OJ Howard would have a much better career than he has. There's targets up for grabs. Thielen's not getting any younger. Jefferson will start getting the lion's share of the defensive coverage. And just see what happens, I guess. I guess if it's a dice roll and I'm waiting until late, I would.
Yeah. All right. I'll let Jibs go first before I say my point there. But I get your take for sure. It's definitely a little bit scary, especially what the coaches are saying about him. Jibs, are you kind of on the same page as Justin?
Yeah, I'm on the same page, but like, there's a little smoke. Like, I feel like the Vikings, they're kind of cold up there. This is my personal take, but like, Zimmer takes me as like a guy who likes very good gamemanship, and obviously, like, maybe he doesn't want to expand his role, but it was kind of weird. They were talking up like, was it Tyler Conklin or something? Like, yeah, like what? Like that kind of sketches me out. But like, I'll take a chance on him. Like, he has like a little touchdown upside when like things are going well for him. So like, figure if he probably get his blocking together, I'm pretty sure that's probably what's keeping him off the field, because obviously Dalvin Cook needs a run. So he's there. Like, I think. I don't know. I like, who would you rather have? Would you have Irv Smith or Robert Tonyan?
Irv Smith without Rodgers, Tonyan with Rodgers.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's how I see it right now. Because I think Irv Smith has that opportunity. Again, it's going to be a run first team. So, like, there's not going to be that many passing going around. I said that last year that this defense got better. I'm not going to throw the ball 45 times in the second half alone anymore, I don't think. I mean, but in the final 3 games of the season, Irv Smith was tight end 3 without Kyle Rudolph on the field. So there's something there. He got the touchdowns he needs. And if he's at least a red zone option, I don't know if Adam Thielen's having 14 touchdowns this coming year. He could be involved in – he could see more of a touchdown-like season than seeing maybe 700, 800 yards, but 500 yards, but maybe 7 touchdowns this season. So, there, again, in that round 12, 13 range, he definitely intrigues me if I decide to punt the tight end position. That's how I kind of feel.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
But let's talk about one of Justin's tight ends here, and Jarrett Cook, who sits at, I think, tight end 19 right now. Yes, Jarrett Cook. Did I say Justin Cook? Jarrett Cook. Jarrett Cook. He's a new starting tight end, and man's been around. And now he gets to be Justin Herbert after, the old man Drew Brees and Taysom Hill last year. But Justin, can Jarrett Cook be somewhat of a tight end you could go grab late and want to start?
He is actually, and I try not to be too much of a homer, but if you look at the wide receiver room in Los Angeles, you got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I would love for Mike Williams to be fully healthy for a full season. He's got to prove it this year on the tag, but that doesn't happen in a while. He's always going to get banged up and miss some plays here and there. The wide receiver 3 currently is a mixture of Tyron Johnson and Josh Palmer. So I think Jarrett Cook has a lot of upside in this, and he's also working with a guy who was the quarterback's coach in New Orleans, where he caught 16 touchdowns over the last 2 years. So I think he will absolutely be part of their red zone offense.
Don't forget your boy Jalen Guyton, man. Come on.
Jalen Guyton, too.
Jalen Guyton, man. Come on.
Don't talk about none of them scrubs. You better talk about that elite man, Keenan Allen. That's my
right.
man right there. That's my man.
Jibs, what about you? How do you feel about Jarrett Cook with the Chargers now?
Jarrett Cook is the old, witty, reliable veteran. Historically, I don't know what the new passing. Wait, who's their passing? Who's their new coordinator?
The
Joe
coordinator
Brady?
is Lombardi.
Joe Lombardi from the
Yeah,
Saints.
Joe Lombardi from the Saints. And the coach is Brandon Staley.
That's the Broncos.
So Joe Lombardi was with the Saints when Jarrett Cook had 2 seasons of 500 yards.
So he knows what he's doing. So I don't think he's gonna be old Jarrett Cook. Like, he'll get you that touchdown, he'll have those kind of boom games, but he ain't gonna give you like that much. It's like a little old Cadillac.
I mean, we've seen times that tight ends in that 34-year-old range kind of have one more good season left in them. If they haven't been like a true like alpha dog tight end. And again, he goes from Drew Brees' old arm to Justin Herbert's young, fresh arm. So they're going to pass the ball at times. I mean, they're going to need to keep those 2020, 2021 loses this coming season here. So, I mean, he's going to be involved in the red zone. So, I mean, he's definitely an option if you just want to punt the position. And if he's sitting there, I think in round 14, 15, I'm pretty okay with that, honestly. Again, you can always find another tight end on waivers if that's the case, but
I like that.
Being decent enough to play.
I think he's going to be my favorite DFS tight end when I want to get a cheap tight end in DFS. I think he's because he might catch a touchdown at any point.
Exactly.
Like, remember last year, like your rookie tight end, like just dropped the ball.
Parnam.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was heartbroken watching that game.
All right. Justin.
I can only tell you that I felt it myself.
The pain.
Jesus. Sadness.
All right, so we got some other guys here real quick. Let's see where we at on time. So real quick, would you rather have Evan Ingram or Zach Ertz with a new team right now?
I can't get off of Evan Ingram, man. Like, I take a shot on Evan Ingram all the time. I don't know why. I mean, if he would just catch the ball, he'd still be like phenomenal. I mean, he's got all the physical traits. He just like drops the ball or does something stupid and has some dumb foot injury. It's like always something with the guy, but he like anytime he's in the game and he's really like engaged in it. I mean, he can boom.
What about you?
I would take if Zach Ertz goes to the Bills. I'm definitely taking him there because there's a lot of fire there. Like, I think he'll probably get traded to them, but or released and signed there. But Evan Ingram, like, it's crazy because he has such a good opportunity. Like, he plays on a good offense. He's a starting tight end, and as an Eagle fans, I love the drops. I love everything about it. But like, it's just a shame because like we saw how fantastic he could be in that rookie year, and then it just kind of dwindled and injuries, and then everything just kind of compiled and. He kind of scares me with Daniel Jones. I don't know. A lot of new weapons. I can't do that, Ingram.
Ingram just continues to see his production just efficiency fall every year since his rookie season. And the fact that he stayed healthy is good, but I'm sure he'll get hurt at some point next year. Just the way his body apparently just doesn't hold up right. I'd rather go with Zach Ertz. Again, I'm not thrilled with that either. So, I mean, honestly, I'd probably stay away from both these guys. Even if Zach Ertz goes to like the Colts or the Bills, I'd be more intrigued with that. But again, I mean, he's 31 years old right now. I mean, coming off an injury. I mean, I'd probably go Ertz, but not thrilled.
What other tight end needy teams are there? Are there other ones in play for him at all?
You could go reunite with Wentz with the Colts.
The Jets need a tight end. I don't trust Chris Herndon.
He apparently is not getting the play.
I mean, if Arizona decides to buy up and go get Zach Ertz, maybe
Arizona would be wild. They don't care about none. They'll put an O-line at a tight end just to solve the problem.
Probably. They don't do tight ends well at all. So these next two guys here, they used to be teammates, and now.
Oh wait, I had one question.
What?
About Zach Ertz? Like, would you like draft him as like your last like whatever pick just to like speculate, or just pick him off, or you think he's a player that you could get off waivers and like just speculate, drop your kick here and hold on to him?
I think he gets drafted. I think he gets drafted at some point in drafts. Because again, we're not. I mean, just because Zach Ertz is still an Eagle doesn't mean that Dallas Goedert's team per se. I mean, it could very much be Zach Ertz if they happen to keep him, which I would hate them to do that. So I mean, I feel like he gets drafted. I'd be pretty shocked if he does it, if he goes undrafted, honestly. Because someone knows his name, and his name will get him drafted. I feel like.
I think it depends on how deep your league is too. Like
Yeah.
I'd leave him on the pile.
10, maybe not 12, more likely.
Oh,
Right. That way.
maybe.
So not in our home league, bro. We're not gonna draft him probably.
Nah,
Maybe Lou will draft him. Who knows?
I mean, I think it depends on like when you're drafting too, because if he goes to a team and he, when will something happen? Who knows?
I mean, right now, if I'm drafting right now, I definitely would draft. I would definitely pick him with my last pick and see if maybe he gets drafted. It gets traded somewhere. And if he doesn't, I drop him or whatever. I would definitely draft him personally right now.
Right.
Because he doesn't know. But if he stays with the Eagles, I still think he gets drafted. For the most part. So, I mean, it could be the tight end show there in Philly. So.
Nah, we tanking this year, baby.
No, you're not taking. You're gonna go like 10. You're gonna go like
Bring
6
the
and like
tank.
11.
You gotta rebuild right.
6
Don't
and
get
11,
Watson.
man.
Don't get Watson.
All right. So these next two, like I mentioned, they used to be teammates. Now they're on different teams now. But Tyler Higbee, Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett's got a new opportunity now. Which of these guys do you care for?
I want Higbee. I mean, Stafford has shown a propensity to throw to the tight end when he was in Detroit. Likes to target him some in the red zone. I think I heard a stat. It was about 18% of his red zone targets went to the tight end when he was in Detroit. I think people are overrating that offense just a little bit. So, I'm a little bit skeptical of it. But I'm also skeptical that Seattle's going to run the ball more this year, and there'll be less attempts for Russ to cook.
That makes a lot of sense. I definitely get that. Jibs, what about you?
You go first. I want to look something up, bro.
I think in terms of the value, I think I'd rather go Gerald Everett because Gerald Everett at times showed flashes. I mean, 2019 before the Higbee show, I mean, he was decent. He was a decent tight end, low end tight end 1. And then even last year, he had at times, I mean, if you look at their stats last year in the first half of the season, Everett was just kind of on pace with Higbee besides that 3 touchdown game he had that Everett didn't play. Again, like you said, Seattle definitely scares me a little bit because of the run, but they need a third option. It's not saying that Dwayne Eskridge is going to be the third option off the bat. I mean, it could be the tight end. They've worked with tight ends over the past pretty decently. So in terms of their ADP currently right now, I'd rather take the lower tier around 15, 16 in Everett than take the round maybe 11 in Higbee.
Okay. Computer that big brain stuff over here, and what my brain came at is I'm choosing Higbee because I like Stafford obviously this year, better offense, and more particular, like last year, Jared Everett and Tyler Higbee had split 120 targets together. Meanwhile, these bums at the Lions basically had at the Lions.
The Seahawks?
The Seahawks. He's bummed that the Seahawks had like 30 targets apiece. So like there's just more opportunity for the tight end position in the Rams situation, in my opinion.
They also didn't have Tutu Atwell, bro.
Tutu Atwell about to eat. What you mean? 120 flying. He's gonna be Tutu Ferrari.
Interesting point though, with Gerald Everett is I just remembered Shane Waldron is their new OC in Seattle, and he came from LA, so he is familiar with Gerald Everett.
Yes, that's a great point added to. Yes, I like that. Thank you, Justin, adding to my point there. All right, so let's finish up these tight end 2 tiers here for the most part. Adam Trotman is pretty low on this list, and he seems to be a pretty breakout candidate. Are you guys buying the breakout this season, Justin?
No, I am not. No, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. If it's Taysom, I'm definitely not buying an Adam Trotman breakout. If it's Jameis does like to target tight ends in the red zone. I think that's pretty good. But I don't know what level of Jameis we'll really get, right? It's not going to be the Wild West Jameis. It's going to be the watered-down Sean Payton version of Jameis. So we'll see how aggressive he is.
All right. I don't hate that. I think those are some great points. Jibs, what about you?
I don't want to say breakout, but I think he's gonna have a better year than last. Yeah, he's gonna be a sleeper, dude. He's a good sleeper. Like Jared Cook was a dominant tight end in that offense last year. Like he's not gonna be getting like that many targets to believe that. Like he's probably gonna get 60 targets, 40 catches, something like that. But like that's not anything to like whoa about. So if he could repeat like Jared Cook's like touchdowns like in the red zone and all that situations, like sure be it. But you never know which like that's what I hate about the Saints. I don't know who's doing what or what's going on. So like you could pick a pocket like all these players, but you could get them at a good discount right now. Look at Thomas, 3rd rounder.
Yeah, I mean, again, it will depend on the quarterback situation, like Justin said. I mean, can Adam Trotman, if we know Jameis Winston is the starter, be a breakout? Absolutely. And if it's Taysom Hill, he's more of a sleeper at that point. But again, you don't draft this guy at round 12 or later. You hopefully get him in round 15, 16, 14. I'll give him that and take him that way and see if he breaks out. If he doesn't, you just drop him. That's kind of the way I see it. But, I mean, he has that potential. I think he has the ceiling. It's just that it depends on who the quarterback is and how it kind of gets there this season. I mean,
right.
Not many college tight ends grow for 1,000 yards, even though it was Division II. But not many of them get close to 1,000 yards in college. So. All right. So that is the end of the tier 2 tight ends for the most part. Only people really left out was Hayden Hurst, Jordan Akins, OJ Howard. Didn't get into them too much, but again, they're backups and just people you don't want on a week-to-week basis. So on to our final tight end 3s in the rough, diamond in the rough, I call it here. And this tier, again, there's so many tight ends here, but I kind of narrowed them down. And if there's someone, the guys I don't mention, please speak up for sure. So first off, Austin Hooper is in this tier at this point. I don't know if he's a diamond in the rough per se, but he's a somewhat shiny penny on the street corner somewhere. But again, he had 70 targets last year and didn't do horrible. Just the touchdowns weren't there, and obviously he saw a decrease in reception targets overall. But does he intrigue you at all, or in a deeper man league possibly?
No, OBJ is back. He's going to take more targets.
All right, okay.
Sucked. He's going to be soaked up, and then freaking you also got to worry about Njoku, and like they're rocking 3 tight ends, and they like all of them. So
yeah, no,
free Njoku. That's all I got to say.
Oh,
free
for sure.
Njoku.
Yeah. Send him to the Cardinals, please.
Cardinals. All right, so Austin Hooper doesn't really get the love of the diamond, but maybe Anthony Frischker from the Tennessee Titans does.
Guy, but
now is a presumed starter now in Tennessee there with Julio and AJ Brown. Is he a diamond in the rough?
Julio kind of jacked it up, but I still think he's got some promise. Like I was all over Ferkser before Julio got there, and then I was like,
Jibs?
I might have to start a podcast with Justin. Like me and him could be on like everything. Like I've been touting Anthony Ferkser for so long too. But yeah, like the tight end position in that offense has been steadily and heavily involvement since like Delaney Walker to Jonnu Smith, even like it's in spare parts. Like I know I could get like something out of Anthony Ferkser at like a low last round cost. Why not?
Yeah, that's kind of the way I see it too. He's a late round guy. He might get a little hype because people are hyping up. People might look at that still. But if he's in that last few rounds, I mean, why not? I mean,
This is peak height.
yeah, I mean, he gets an offensive coordinator who was his tight end coach, if I'm not mistaken correctly. I mean, he's going to be involved in this offense.
So.
It might not be the breakout we want, but he could definitely be a really good streaming tight end most weeks. So, I mean, definitely not a bad option. And the next one is the Chicago Bears duo, and maybe it's just one guy maybe this year. Last year it was Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet, the rookie from last year, kind of came out at the end of the season here. But it's Cole Kmet is the starter right now in terms of ESPN depth charts. He is the starter right now. So do you believe Cole Kmet can kind of make that next step, or is Jimmy Graham kind of keep him low?
I'd go for Cole Kmet. I mean, I think Cole Kmet's got some talent, and I think Jimmy Graham potentially becomes a cut casualty, or I don't know, decides to hang it up. I mean, why is he still playing? I don't really get it. If Jimmy Graham's still there, Cole Kmet it's going to hurt him. But I think there's good talent for the value.
I think the $3 million he's getting this year says it all. But Jibs, what about you? Can you believe Cole Kmet can kind of make that step up, or is it more of like an Adam Trotman thing?
I think it's gonna be an Adam Trotman thing, but I don't think he's gonna be drafted per se. But I think he's gonna be a hot addition on the waiver wires this year, and people are gonna be lined up to get him at some point.
Just food for thought. If Andy Dalton, if Nagy actually does what he says and lets Andy Dalton start for most of this year, Andy Dalton did take Dalton Schultz as a top 12 tight end last year.
That's true.
That is very, very true. Yeah, definitely don't disagree with that. Again, with me, Cole Kmet, I mean, if it's my last pick, and if I want to really punt the tight end position and just take him in my last round pick, I'd be pretty happy with that. Again, he might not do anything week one. He's probably going to be dropped. So if you don't even want to pick him up, people are going to drop him after week one, probably, if Andy Dalton is the starting quarterback against the Rams. So week two, pick him up and hold him on your team for a couple of weeks, because I think, we're not sure who's going to be the number 2 in terms of targets. Everyone says Darrell Mooney, who I obviously love, but again, it could be someone else. It could be Cole Kmet. So, I mean, it's worthy of the option. I mean, he's a guy who can catch the ball really well, and he's got athletic ability to his game there. So I wouldn't hate that if he ends up breaking out at all. All right, so these last 2 tight ends I have here are basically the same exact person, I could say, to some extent here. They both have 3 wide receivers that are studs on their team. They have a solid quarterback all around. They have strong running backs. And Blake Jarwin and Eric Ebron. If you had to take a final shot with one of these guys, who would it rather be?
I'm going Ebron.
I think I would go Jarwin just because Dak's got a better arm than Ben at this point.
Yeah, I think I'm on the Jarwin side too. Honestly, I think he had potential to show off last year, and he didn't have that opportunity. I think he gets an opportunity now, especially that he's hopefully healthy. But Ebron's more of a reliable tight end. He might not have that ceiling as he did, but
how about them Cowboys?
Again, at this point of the draft, at this point of the tight end tiers, you're just shooting for, I don't know, something on the ground at this point. So, but is there anyone, guys, that I missed that you want to mention?
I've got one. So I would take a late round shot on Mo Alley Cox. With Carson Wentz now in Indianapolis, I mean, I'm pretty sure Carson Wentz goes to sleep at night and dreams of being a tight end because he loves the tight end position. Mo Alley Cox, former basketball player, has got some athletic ability. I think he should usurp Jack Doyle if he can show that he can block, because there'll be a run first, a little bit offense. But he's one that I would potentially throw dice at and see what happens. Not as my only tight end, but
yeah, as the backup guy, I like that, Jim. All right.
I have one. His name is Tim Tebow.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I was kidding. But I just wanted to throw some shine on OJ Howard. Rob Gronkowski, according to these ADP things, he's getting drafted way higher than OJ Howard, and you never know. OJ Howard, maybe he can actually do something. But Robert Gronkowski is old, and I know he's a very good reliable red zone target. But they have to have someone to get through 18 or 17 game season. So I think OJ Howard could be that nice value pick down there, could benefit you.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, there's
it's possible. It's probably not it's probably, I'll say it's 25-70, no, 80-20.
That's
80 probably no, and 20 not.
Yeah.
again, he has that elite traits in his play, but I mean, he hasn't shown it enough, and there's way too many weapons. But again, you just never know what's going to happen when he's actually on the field. He actually was pretty decent last year with Brady. So I guess I'll give one last guy real quick just to throw out there. But if Dawson Knox isn't the answer and they don't bring in Zach Ertz, Jacob Hollister, again, this is probably more for 16-man leagues. Again, he showed flashes in Seattle. And again, this is a pass-first offense here. If Dawson Knox just doesn't cut it, and they've been pretty vocal about making Dawson Knox the real guy. And if he's not, they're pretty okay with getting rid of him and moving on. So, I mean, Jacob Hollister is there now. There's an opportunity for him to kind of step up if that's the case. So, again, this is deep man league, 16-plus kind of thing. So, but that's going to wrap up our tight end preview for the day, guys. We definitely appreciate you guys for listening in. Justin, you were a great guest, man, bringing some great stats into this game here. We definitely appreciate you jumping on today, man.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite, fellas. Love it. Get a top 3 tight end, everyone, if you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, go top 3. Go top 3 for sure.
Punt everything.
Punt everything. Don't punt the tight end. That's for sure. But Justin, let everyone know they can find you out on social media again.
Yeah, you can find me at JF Hornets 25. I look forward to it.
Yeah, so give him a follow, guys. Hit him up with some fantasy questions. He loves that shit, So as always, guys, before we go, I got some big things going on right now. So if you haven't been following us on Twitter, we have our Charity Bowl League right now that we're doing with the Humane Society of the United States. Just kind of a redraft kind of fantasy league here. So if you have any interest in that, please go check out our website at www.thefantasycoaches.com. All we ask for is $5, and you get entered to win a couple cool prizes here. And it's a really cool, interesting setup for a redraft league here. So you can just hit us up, or if you want to just go to the website, check that out as well. We got a couple cool articles posted right now. Our new boy Justin P posted some cool rookie stat articles for this coming season here. We got a new ADP value article up there with Justin and Rob just did. So go check those out as well. We're going to have a couple cool guests coming on over this next month here. We're going to be starting 2 episodes a week in just a few weeks here. So look out for that. And that's really about it so far. We're going to have some cool things coming down the line this year. We'll talk more when we get there. But as always, you can follow us on Twitter at Coaches Fantasy. You can follow me at Coach Stephen P.
And you can follow me at Hot Take Honcho on Twitter. And seriously, guys, check out that charity event. Like, you heard my dog barking in the podcast. I love dogs. I love animals, guys. Give $5. Play some fantasy football. It's not a $20. It's not $100. It's not a $200 league. It's $5 chump change. You could that's ashtray money if you got an ashtray in your car. So sign up. Visit thefantasycoaches.com, and have a good one, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Take care.